Virgin Galactic Stock to the moon, baby! What is happening, investors? It is your boy Jack. I am not a financial advisor. I got the clothing line to prove that fact. And today we are speaking about one of the most exciting companies in the entire stock market, in my opinion. Virgin Galactic, the company that wants to bring you and me to space. I've always been very excited about these guys, and I've spoken about them a lot lately, but there are some really exciting things I want to speak about. There's a couple of articles we have to go through. It actually speaks about how they're going to make money. It breaks down the cost of the machines and flying people to space, and we can actually get a better understanding of how we're going to become profitable. We're going to speak about what needs to go right over the next 3 to 6 months in order for Virgin Galactic to be able to go up hundreds and hundreds of percents over the next couple of years. We'll speak about what time I think is a good time to buy this company, what my price targets are, and we'll also speak about what the price of Virgin Galactic will look like, in my opinion, if things don't go to plan, because that's very important to understand here as well. If you're like me and you like to take a risk in regards to a nice juicy high growth stock, it doesn't get much more attractive than Virgin Galactic. Right before we get into the video, guys, can I please ask you to hit that juicy like button and help your boy out? I really would appreciate you. If you're new around here, what are you waiting for, my friend? Please hit that juicy red subscribe button and join the family. And please drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the company, especially if you are an investor yourself. With that being said, guys, into the video. So guys, as we like to do on this channel, we're going to start it off with the recent price action. So we're having a look at the monthly chart. We can see there's monthly highs of just under $18 a share. We actually briefly dipped below $15, and as of right now, we're at $16.43. So I have been saying for a considerable period of time, I think it's a good buy under 17. I mean, a very good long-term buy under 17. And I think under $15, it is an absolute steal. So I have been buying these guys every single week that passed. I picked up 50 more shares this week. And it is starting to look like, we may make a little bit of a move towards the upside soon for a couple of reasons. So the main one being our next test flight happening October, okay? So the window for this test flight to begin opens on October 22nd, which means it could be that day or it could be a few days later. But you're all already aware of that. There's one article here I really want to go through, okay? Because it was actually really interesting when I read through this. Here's how Virgin Galactic will earn a profit. So this actually breaks down the numbers. It makes it really, really easy to understand. And it can kind of give us investors an idea of, when are we actually going to make money? How long will it take? How much profit can we make? So it starts off just by saying how bad we're doing. We should all be aware of that. We've had a few very poor quarters since going public. So the whole time, Virgin Galactic has been assuring investors that it would begin sending customers to space in 2020 and book its first profit in 2021. But in the last revenue-listed quarterly report, Virgin Galactic finally admitted that commercial operations will actually have to be pushed back into 2021, meaning profits might be pushed back even further. So this has always been a worry, and it's always been the main concern, I would say, of us Virgin Galactic investors. Things have been pushed back on numerous occasions as it is, and it's hard to get an accurate timeline that we can really believe in, you know what I mean? I mean, a lot of us want to believe that by the first quarter of next year, Richard Branson is going to space, but we've seen them push so many things back, and every time things get pushed back, it seems like the stock's price just trickles down a little bit lower. I mean, if I remind you, we were all the way up above $25 a share for a very short period of time, people. So since then, it's been a massive crash. So this is one of the, most worrying things about Virgin Galactic in general, in my opinion, is just the time frames that we get given and the fact that very often they don't get hit. So how do they plan to make profit, okay? Last week, the company gave us a clue. Virgin Galactic gave stock analysts at Jefferies & Co. a clue, conducting a conference call with the investment bank, which was promptly recapped by CNBC. After a call with Virgin Galactic executives, Jefferies says the second Spaceship 2 spacecraft is on track to roll out by the end of 2020. The cost to produce more spacecraft targeted $30 to $35 million per vehicle, okay? Each is built to last 10 plus years and fly 50 flights a year. So keep in mind, the ticket is going to cost about $250,000 and there'll be 6 people on board at once. So we can assume that each flight is going to bring in $1.5 million. Now we will expand on that a little bit later. And they're each built to last 10 plus years at 50 flights a year. So they could each easily be doing, 500 flights in their lifetime. So if we do 500 multiplied by 1.5 million, okay, we're looking at 750 million. Considering that they cost 30 to 35 million to make, that's a lot of profit on a per vehicle basis, but it's not quite that simple. So leaving aside overhead costs, it's reasonable to assume that Virgin Galactic can pay for the construction of each incremental spaceplane after about 20 20 flights. So if each spaceplane has a service life of 10 plus years, there should be plenty of time for each one to earn its keep and generate profits for the company. So all in all, very simple to understand that, you know, they pay for themselves after a certain amount of time, and then money just goes to the company. There is one caveat to the math above, however, okay? The overhead cost I mentioned up above. You see, in a subsequent tweet, Sheets noted that each SS2 flight incurs a significant one-time in the form of replacing the entire engine. The largest cost for each flight is the second generation rocket motor 2 engine, which costs between $250,000 or $275,000 to replace each flight. So that's essentially one ticket that just pays for the new motor every single time. But Virgin Galactic expects that cost to come down as the flight cadence increases. Of course, you'll be able to buy more, you know, in general prices go down as time goes on as well, but definitely a big chunk of change to be paying out on every single flight. But it's necessary. So why is this, okay? Turns out that unlike ordinary airplanes that don't fly to space, Spaceship Two is powered by a novel rocket motor 2, a hybrid solid fuel engine that burns a plastic hydroxyl terminated polybutadiene, I don't know if I said that right, fuel cartridge to propel the spaceplane into space. This means that preparing the SS2 for a repeat flight is not a simple matter of putting more gas in the tank essentially. After each use, the HTPB fuel cartridge needs to be replaced, which is sort of like replacing the engine. And I mean guys, we're in uncharted territory, you know, this could obviously be upgraded and be adapted as time goes on. I mean, this is pretty much our first draft. I'm sure things will get more efficient as time goes on. That's generally how things work in life. So what does this mean to investors? Suffice it to say that this sounds like an inefficient way to run an airline, even one as unique as Virgin Galactic. It's not really an airline though. It's not like, you know, I'm not going to fly from Dublin to England. It won't utterly prevent the company from turning a profit, just postpone the break-even point a bit. And I mean, that's all it is, genuinely. It's just postponing profit making, which is fine. They've waited long enough. They can wait an extra month per vehicle. For the time being, Virgin Galactic is probably best advised to leave optimizing the operating costs of its SS2 spaceplane for a later date. I think that's fair. And focus instead on just getting its final test flights out of the way. That is all I care about. Getting those test flights done and getting Richard Branson to space. That is all we should be caring about right now. I don't care about profit margins. I don't care if things could be more efficient. Once we have full FAA approval, once Richard Branson goes to space and, you know, we see proof of concept, once anybody with $250,000 can fly to space if they want to, then worry about making it as efficient as possible. You've been losing money for long enough. You know, another few months is not going to hurt. That is where I stand, but I did think that this was really interesting, and it does show how much money could be made with this company. This is another quite interesting article I saw earlier on. Okay, I actually found it in my Discord. How SpaceX, Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin and others compete in the growing space tourism market. Now there's a lot I don't really care about in here, but there's a few points I want to bring up. So space tourism is for the ultra rich. So why are Virgin Galactic, SpaceX and Blue Origin betting on it? Well, there's a lot more people becoming ultra rich every year. There's an emerging industry thought to be only science fiction not too long ago that's close to becoming a reality: space tourism. And a handful of companies, including one publicly traded name, Virgin Galactic, are competing neck and neck to be the leaders. Right off the bat guys, let's just take a moment to appreciate how insane it is that genuinely as early as next year, the everyday person could be flying to space. Well, I mean, not the everyday person, but the everyday person with $250,000 could be flying to space. I mean, that's every little kid's dream. I bet a lot of you watching this video now would love to go to space. I know I definitely would. Imagine recording a video in space. That would be sick. So here's one major difference between Virgin Galactic and SpaceX, okay? How they expect to fly private paying passengers to space next year. While passengers flying with both companies would go to space by the Federal Aviation Administration's definition, a Virgin Galactic passenger spends about 0.04% as much time in space on the SpaceX trip, while a ride with Elon Musk's company is expected to cost roughly 200 times as much, and there is definitely not that many people with that much money. I mean, $50 million, that's a little bit steep, you know, for a lot of people. There's definitely a few people who can do it. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people out there who can afford $250,000, but $50 million, I mean, you better hope Jeff Bezos wants to go. UBS in a report last year estimated that space tourism with both suborbital and orbital together has a potential market value of $3 billion by 2030. Now I think it is really difficult to put a number on this because it's brand new. I mean, there is no comparison points. It is its own market and it is brand spanking new. It could be 3 billion, it could be less, it could be more. Judging by the demand and pre-orders we've seen, 3 billion could be a very realistic number, but I think by 2030 it could be higher in all honesty. And then these guys here, Sky Research broke out its expectations for suborbital versus orbital. By 2028, NSR expects suborbital will be $2.8 billion market, while orbital will be a $610 million. So, you know, there's a few different people saying a few different figures. So suborbital is where Virgin Galactic comes into play, okay? There's two companies competing in this realm. Virgin Galactic, okay, and then there is also Blue Origin. A lot of you guys will know about these. The private space company funded almost entirely by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. In my opinion, and from what we can see here, Virgin Galactic's in the lead. You know, we have more pre-orders, we've done more test flights. They will be going to space first in my opinion. Now with that being said, we don't know as much about Blue Origin because they are not a publicly traded company, but I like Virgin Galactic, I really do, and I think they offer an immense growth situation right now. And then there's orbital tourism, okay, which is a different thing altogether. You pretty much go 4 times deeper into space essentially, okay, and spend days or even more than a week in space, whereas with Virgin Galactic it can be a few minutes. I still stand by what I've said in the past. I think below $17 is still a really good buy, and below $15 is an amazing buy. Now Virgin Galactic is, and always has been, a very high risk, high reward company in my opinion. I think either you are going to make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of percents in a medium term, you know, 3 to 5 years down the line, and then if all goes well, for a very long time. I would hope that you could hold these guys for decades and they would expand into so much more, including our hypersonic travel. But if things start to go wrong, it's going to be a horrible journey in the short term in all honesty. I mean, I could very realistically see a world where if things get pushed back towards the latter half of next year, Virgin Galactic could be a $10 company in my opinion, temporarily. But I still do believe that ultimately, when they start fulfilling the promises that they're making to us investors, we're going to go up in value. So if you're willing to strap yourself in for the long term here, I think we're at very good prices, with the understanding that in my opinion at least, we could easily drop 20-30+% on the back of no news. Not necessarily bad news, but no news. If the October test flights don't go to plan, or if they get pushed back, if Richard Branson does not go to space in the first quarter, and particularly in the first half of next year, I would expect a sell-off. But aside from that, everything's looking good and I really like what I'm seeing. But guys, that's Virgin Galactic. There we have it guys. If you have watched until the end of today's video, I really do appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. You are helping me out so much. And of course, you, my friend, are a true legend. So thank you for being here. It genuinely is such an exciting company. And as I said at the start of the video, if you're like me and you really do, you know, like a high growth potential stock and you have the risk tolerance for it, I don't think it gets much more attractive than this. If you did enjoy, could I please ask you to hit that like button, drop me a comment and subscribe if you're new around here, because all of that helps me out so much. If you're interested, please hit the first link in my description and sign up to become a patron. You'll get full access to my buy and sell alerts, new stocks to watch, individual stock chats, and just so much more. There's over 340 patrons in there now, speaking all day. But anyway guys, I really do hope that you enjoyed. I will see you all for another video tomorrow. Have a fantastic day. Peace.